There have been sightings of Michael Jackson ever since he had died. Many fans believe that he's still living in the world amongst us. Michael had a lot of baggage and a lot of trauma from fame, and he always wanted to escape into a different world. Neverland was his prized possession until it started feeling like a prison. So the theory states that Michael had faked his own death, and there's evidence to support this. After Michael had passed away, everyone was convinced that he had put on prosthetics to look like a burn victim named Dave Dave.
I decided to become my own person through changing my name.
What is the truth here? Has Michael Jackson been set up to be murdered, or was he a mastermind who was able to escape the limitations of fame? Let's get into it. Welcome back to Celebrity Conspiracies, where we go through some of the craziest conspiracies out there. Today we're going to be talking about Michael Jackson being alive. People swear that they've seen Michael Jackson in places he should not be, and the internet refuses to let this theory die. What if the biggest star on Earth did not disappear at all? From secret recordings to strange photos and suspicious documents, there is a growing group of people who are convinced that Michael Jackson is still alive and hiding in plain sight. We're going to go through every piece of evidence that suggests that Michael Jackson could be out there. And to start this story off, we're not going back to June 25th, 2009, when Michael died. We're actually going all the way back to 1994. So this guy, Dr. Andy, would describe himself as a metaphysician, but he was also a psychic. And it looks like he gave an interview to the Weekly World News that actually published his prediction that Michael would eventually fake his own death. In his prediction, he said that Michael was so overwhelmed by his troubled life, trapped inside the walls of the Neverland Ranch, dodged by scandals and looming legal troubles, that the only way out might be to disappear. In the article, he said, quote, Michael is planning to fake his own death by claiming that he suffered a fatal heart attack while riding his Ferris wheel at Neverland. The plan is to cremate the body and scatter the ashes across his estate, making it impossible to ever prove otherwise. Dr. Andy said on record he will cut his hair, disappear underground, and start a new life as someone else entirely. Michael is living a hellish existence like Elvis, and he will find a way to escape. Now, Dr. Andy made his prediction about 15 years before this all went down, and it's eerily similar to what happened to Michael. Now, 6 months before June 25th, 2009, a celebrity biographer, Ian, went public with a forecast that Michael Jackson was ill and might not survive the next half year. And in late December 2008, Ian actually told reporters that Michael had suffered from a rare genetic lung disorder and he would need a lung transplant. He said that Michael could barely speak, with severely impaired vision, internal bleeding, and years of mounting respiratory problems. Now, whenever he made this statement, it was 6 months before Michael had passed away, and there were a bunch of articles that ran these headlines that said he has 6 months to live. I mean, that's quite a coincidence. Now, when news broke on June 25th, 2009, that Michael Jackson had passed away, everyone said that it was a cardiac arrest. That's what they reported, that he had had a heart attack.
And it's very, very sad news, Jim Moret, and to all of our viewers. Both the Los Angeles Times and CBS News are both now reporting that Michael Jackson has died. Now, CNN has not confirmed that, but the LA Times and CBS News are reporting that Michael Jackson, 50 years old, the king of pop, has died.
It wasn't until August 28th, 2009 that the Los Angeles County Coroner released their official autopsy report, and it came with a different conclusion. Michael Jackson did not have a heart attack, he was poisoned. They actually ruled it homicide caused by acute propofol intoxication. Unfortunately, people die of heart attacks every single day. It's a scary thought. Oh, my chest is tightening just even thinking about it. But there are certain protocols that go down when you have a medical emergency, and there's some suspicious activity when it comes down to what happened with Michael. If somebody stops breathing, you're supposed to give them CPR, pump on their chest, and help them start breathing again. You would need to do this on the floor because you need a flat surface. But let's talk about what Dr. Conrad Murray did in the moment. Keep in mind, this is a doctor. Dr. Murray did not call 911 right away. He didn't even say Michael Jackson's name when he called the paramedics. weeks, and it looks like he waited about 25 minutes. It could have been 30 minutes after realizing that Michael was not okay. Security finally called 911 at 12:21 p.m. Now, in the 911 call, the person never says Michael Jackson, only that we have a gentleman here that needs help and not breathing. The dispatcher asks them immediately, are they on the floor? He says, oh no, they're in the bed, and they immediately ask them to get Michael to the floor, not knowing it's Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's security guard, Alberto Alvarez, is the one who dialed 911, and he testified as to what he saw prior to making that call. He says Dr. Murray had him collect vials and remove an IV bag that appeared to contain a milky white fluid. So what is the doctor doing pumping Michael Jackson with this milky stuff? It's actually called propofol. So they had him sedated on this in a really bad state. I mean, he couldn't breathe if he wanted to breathe. When investigators started to put together a timeline, they realized that the security footage at Michael's home was deleted that day. It was missing. Some sources say that surveillance tapes from his Holmby Hills home was also destroyed or hidden, fueling these conspiracy theories as to what actually happened when he died. Now, the funeral itself was a mega production. They had lights, cameras, the family members there. But notably, Elizabeth Taylor, one of Michael Jackson's closest celebrity friends, refused to attend. She actually gave out a statement. I cannot be part of the public whoopla. I don't believe that Michael would have wanted me to share my grief with millions of others. How I feel is between us. Which kind of started this conversation that this service was more of a spectacle. Michael Jackson was done so dirty at this point in his life that it felt fake to do this big show. Now, the casket was never opened, and I don't anticipate them opening it up for a crowd of millions of people, but as soon as they finished with their last prayer, they had a SWAT team come in and take that body away, but they weren't headed to go and just bury him yet. Weeks became months until they figured out when they were going to actually have the burial. It was on September 3rd, 2009, under extreme security, where the family had a private funeral. There were police helicopters, there were canine units, and there were a bunch of people keeping media and fans away. Now, we know that Michael does not have a great relationship with his father. I've talked about their toxic past before. I don't know if he's lying in this clip or what, but in an interview, he stated that he actually doesn't know where Michael is buried.
Where is Michael's body?
I don't know. You have to ask somebody that knows. I don't know. All I know,
You're the father.
I was at the memorial, and where they took it from there, I have to find out. I'll let you know later, Larry.
Now that we have the basic timeline established, I want to mess it up by going back to the day that Michael had died. Because Michael always had paparazzis who followed him. It's like the similarity he had with Britney Spears. They were harassed and ridiculed by them. And of course, the paparazzi were on duty on June 25th, 2009. And according to accounts from paparazzi present that day, a photographer named Chris, who was working for the agency National Photo Group, managed to capture some of the only pictures of Michael inside the ambulance being transported to UCLA's medical center. So when the EMT left Michael's home, the paparazzi were on top of it. They were swarming the vehicle, and we do have a blurry video of what they saw. Of course, everyone was swarming this vehicle because a photo of Michael Jackson would go for about $500,000 up to $1 million for a photograph. Now, there is a last photo of Michael Jackson, and it stirred up a lot of controversy. It was taken by this guy, Ben Evanstad, and it was taken through a dark-tinted window of the ambulance. I mean, typically, when you take a picture of those windows, it kind of reflects back unless you have the camera right up to the glass. The photo shows a person lying on a stretcher with an oxygen mask, and it looks like Michael Jackson, but a lot of people question whether this is authentic or not. So this photo has gone viral, and it does look like Michael Jackson. But let me introduce you guys to this man, Brian Oxman. He's a spokesman and an attorney for the Jackson family, and he publicly stated that the image was fake. Now, this is before the times of AI and things like this. I mean, we did have Photoshop, and maybe that's what this person had done, trying to get that $500K or that $1 million payday. Some people also say that the oxygen mask in this photo is improperly placed, and that the photo does not show signs consistent with cardiac arrest or severe distress, which could make sense because he didn't die of a heart attack. He was heavily sedated, so he probably would look kind of relaxed in the photo. This comment from 2010 said, I said it before and I'm saying it now. It was not Michael Jackson in the ambulance. They say yes, and the nose is so different. And finally, so are the eyebrows, his upper lip, and skin color. We do have more footage from that date that Michael had died. You can see this video of his body being transported by helicopter helicopter to the LA County Coroner's office for an autopsy. In the footage, you can see the body is covered by a white sheet and it's being carried from a helicopter to the coroner's vehicle. Looking at this footage, there are some people who believe that there's a sudden shift in the body, something that doesn't look normal when it comes to a dead person being sent to the coroner's office.
Look at the white sheet covering Michael's body. It's moving.
So the helicopter video is creepy, but I've got an even creepier clip because this video, this 29-second video, went viral because it shows Michael's body being taken by the helicopter to the coroner's office, and then once he gets there, he gets up and gets out of the vehicle. You'll see the vehicle leave from the helicopter and supposedly go to this garage. As they get to the garage, you'll see that the back of the vehicle opens and it seems like Michael is brought inside and walking just fine. Now, this video is fake. It's a hoax. It was actually created by a German broadcaster, RTL, to demonstrate how easily misinformation and conspiracy theories spread on the internet. Wait, so you're telling me that these people filmed a video of themselves with a truck trying to make it seem like Michael was still alive? I can't believe that this was on their agenda of work to do. Here's a report from 2009 where you can see in Germany, it looks like the video was created. They said that they did a press release before they did the video to alert everyone it was fake, but once it posted, it spread really fast. Now, a ton of people clicked onto this video, but there are some people who say, hey, where did this German broadcasting company come from? Could they be potentially covering up for this video that maybe is real? I mean, we're talking about 2009, again, before AI. I want to talk about a crazy conspiracy within this conspiracy. It's the Dave theory. But before we get there, I want to mention that Michael Jackson's legal documents have a discrepancy. Sometimes he's reported as Michael Joseph Jackson. Other times he's Michael Joe Jackson, which is weird to me because all of my government documents say the same name. I don't know how the most famous person in the world could have some discrepancies between them, but an interesting point. I mean, it shows that there probably could be multiple identities out there for just this one person in case he wanted to live under maybe another social security number. Now, in 2009, there was speculation exploding after a burn survivor named Dave appeared on Larry King Live. Some insisted that the man on the screen was not Dave at all, but Michael Jackson in disguise. Michael Jackson has a history of wearing elaborate disguises and transforming himself into an old man or doing crazy makeup to get around the public attention. Now, I'm not saying I believe the Dave conspiracy. I think it's terrible that they're using a burn victim. I mean, Dave was actually burned by his own father, who Michael befriended. There are tons of people who genuinely believe that this was Michael dressing up as Dave. They're insisting that it's his voice because Dave's voice happens to have a higher pitch than average. They're also insisting that his eyes, because they happen to resemble Michael's droopy eyes. I genuinely believe that Michael would never dress up as a burn victim friend to give an interview.
Hello, this is Dave. How are you? Our world has come to an interesting point in an interesting time. This is a very interesting project we're working on. I want to thank each and every one of you for your overwhelming support. May God bless you. I love you. Good night.
Thank you very much for all of your support, and may God bless you all. I love you. Goodbye.
Okay, that's a little bit creepy. They did sound the same, and they said the exact same thing. Now, Dave was born David Rothenberg. He passed away July 15th, 2008 in Vegas at the age of 42. Now, the claim has never been that Michael became Dave permanently, but rather had a disguise of himself as Dave for that 2009 appearance on Larry King Live. Supporters argued that it was a way for Michael Jackson to address his fans indirectly after his reported death, using the mask of someone he had been connected to in life.
But I always loved his music. And my mother surprised me one day and brought me up to Neverland. And there were all these Paul McCartney records all over this, The Girl Is Mine, and, this and that. And I felt a little tap on my shoulder. And I turned around. And there was Michael. And you know what, Larry? What? At that moment, we embraced. And that embrace never ended throughout our whole entire friendship.
This comment reads, I've never seen this before. The minute he starts talking, that is Michael Jackson for sure. The voice is undeniable. That's Michael for sure. Another person said his voice, his tone, the word choice, his mannerisms, his looks, his facial structure, the king of pop is still alive. As I mentioned earlier, Michael Jackson loved himself a good disguise, dressing up, a mask, looking like a different person. And this is something that everyone who knew him knew this about him. So is it so far-fetched to imagine that he could dress up as Dave? I mean, the burn of it all is probably like, seems kind of like insensitive on his part, but they were so close that maybe he, Dave would allow him to do this or encourage him to do this. But here are some clips of people talking about the fact that Michael Jackson loved to dress up.
Michael Jackson is another person totally with the mask.
So he grabbed the kids, they looking normal, Mike comes out, he has his disguise on, So I starts laughing. Because I didn't even recognize him, Sometimes I forget that he's supposed to be in his disguise, And I keep calling him Mike. So when I realized he was people, then I start calling him Dave. Dave.
So Michael was always dressing up, and even though Dave died in 2018, there are some people who feel like he popped up in 2017. Some people say that this man and these prosthetics were seen at Michael Jackson's nephew's wedding in 2017. But a lot of Michael Jackson's family believed that he was set up, which adds to this conspiracy theory. Let's talk about LaToya, because she accuses multiple people of being involved and that it was a conspiracy. Quote, "I believe Michael was murdered. I felt that from the start. Not just one person was involved. Rather, it was a conspiracy of people, that he was surrounded by a bad circle. And I do remember seeing reports that Michael was worth more dead than he was alive."
First of all, he told me over and over and over. When he first told me, LaToya, they're going to kill me. I said, who, Michael? First, I thought you're Michael Jackson. Nobody in their right mind would ever think of doing anything like this to you. That's what you think. He says, no, but you don't understand. And then I saw how serious he was. He said, it's bigger than what you think. I said, well, Michael, what is it? He said, it's my publishing. They're after my publishing. They want to take it. As you guys know, my brother had one of the largest catalogs in the world, meaning music-wise.
The Beatles collection was one of them.
He owned the Beatles, yes. There's an elevator music that you hear, just everything, basically a piece of every artist.
I'm really intrigued because you say that there was somebody at this house and you know who it was. Can you say who it was?
No, I cannot say, because there were other people at the house as well. Because I prefer not to at the moment, but I will say this, I would love to have a one-on-one with several people. One person I would love to have. Safe? I would love to have a one-on-one with probably,
So LaToya pretty much said it straight out that she knew that he was going to pass away because he knew he was going to pass away. And he even told her who were the ones that were responsible for this. You can see Whoopi in that interview said, LaToya, you're in danger, girl. Somebody else commented that Whoopi stopped her from saying a name. It does seem like Whoopi didn't want to cross a line. I feel like she's someone who knows the industry very well and how evil it can be. And if you do the wrong thing, you will be punished. Moving on to Michael's mother, Katherine Jackson. She went on a TV interview with Oprah and she relived the worst day of her life. When she took the stand in 2013 against a concert promoter, AEG Live, Katherine told the jury why she was there. She wanted to know what really happened to her son. Now, I don't think Katherine ever got her wish by figuring out what really happened to him, or if she did, she learned about it and never spoke about it because she probably is in danger. Joe Jackson, Michael's father, actually filed a wrongful death suit against Dr. Murray, accusing the cardiologist of negligence and even misleading emergency physicians. Remember that terrible 911 call?
You didn't call 911.
I did not call 911.
You called his assistant.
Yes.
To call security.
Yes.
This is a vital time. You're the medical practitioner. You know 911, call emergency is your first port of call, isn't it?
Like, why was he not acting like a doctor and going into life-saving measures? He was more worried about covering whatever drugs he had in the room up. Even though Joe tried to sue Dr. Murray, he did not win. And actually, Dr. Murray was only sentenced to 4 years back in 2011, but served 2 of them because of overcrowding. So he's been a free man ever since then. Like we were just talking about in that LaToya interview, it seemed like Whoopi was trying to stop her from saying too much. And there's one speech that Michael Jackson gave that's gone viral online. And some people say that this is the speech that led to the people who killed him to want to do it. They were motivated because they realized that he wasn't working under their control.
And Tommy Mottola is a devil.
Respect!
I own half of Sony's publishing, and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it. But I just did good business, you know. The way they get revenge is to try and destroy my album.
Why would he hold up that sign, Sony kills? I mean, he would know that they would be so angry with that. Now, 5 years after Michael's supposed death, the world was given another reason to wonder what's going on, because in 2014, Epic Records released Escape. This was an album built from Michael Jackson's unreleased material spanning several decades, which I feel like is kind of problematic. The song titled Escape originally was recorded in 1999. It begins with a skit that seems to describe someone breaking out of prison, a symbolic act of freedom. Michael then sings in a tone of desperation and urgency, his lyrics painting a picture of alienation, pressure, and the burning desire to break away. Fans that are convinced that Michael staged his death says that this song sounds like he told us years before that escape was his plan. Let's talk about the lyrics. So Michael sings, "Everywhere I turn, no matter where I look, the system's in control, it's all ran by the book. I've got to get away so I can clear my mind. Escape is what I need. Away from electric eyes. No matter where I am, I see my face around. They pin lies on my name and push them from town to town. Don't have a place to run, but there's no need to hide. I got to find a place, but I won't hide away. Escape, gotta get away from the system I lose in the world today. Escape the pressure that I face from relationships, got to go away. Escape the man with the pen that writes the lies that hassles this man. Escape, I do what I wanna because I gotta face nobody but me." Now, I've always felt like artists do speak about their personal lives through their music, and the fact that he recorded this in 1999 kind of feels like maybe he was trying to tell us back then, and maybe then having it released later on is another way to send this message. Maybe Michael saw what Dr. Andy had predicted back in 1994 and then started to get inspired by it, and then eventually created this plan. But either way, this is still a conspiracy theory. If Michael is still out there, hopefully he's living in peace. And if he's not, hopefully he's resting in peace. But I hope you guys enjoy this conspiracy video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.